Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and uncover how Codatta is using blockchain to fix a deeply flawed system that honestly we all unknowingly rely on. Every single day, millions of people, developers and businesses choose which AI to use based on public leaderboards. I mean, we treat these rankings like absolute gospel, right? But what happens when the scoreboard itself is totally compromised? Today, we're going to explore some genuinely groundbreaking solutions designed to bring actual trust and integrity back to AI benchmarking.
Let's start by shattering a pretty big illusion: the AI leaderboards you trust. They're often playing a totally rigged game. We really have to ask ourselves, are the top AI models actually the best, or are they just the best at taking tests? It's a subtle but absolutely crucial distinction. You know how some people are just amazing at taking tests but terrible when they actually have to do the job in the real world? Well, AI is doing the exact same thing. It can be trained to completely conquer specific benchmarks while failing miserably in practical, everyday applications. So before we get into the solutions, we need to map out exactly how this game is being played right now. We're talking about a landscape filled with manipulated numbers and hidden identities. We're going to break down the three massive challenges poisoning AI benchmarking today, and then see how Codatta acts as the ultimate, incorruptible referee.
All right, the rigged AI leaderboard, unmasking the game. Challenge number 1, rank gamers or fine-tuning for the win.
Our first villain in this rigged system is when developers simply optimize for the test rather than the end user. Think about it. If an AI developer knows the exact questions that are going to be on the benchmark, the temptation to just fine-tune the model for those exact questions is literally irresistible. Relying on these fixed lab benchmarks just encourages pure rank climbing. So what happens? You end up with an AI that artificially rockets to the top of the charts, but gives you a terrible, clunky experience when you actually try to use it for your daily tasks. But Codatta's AAA approach, which stands for authenticity, accuracy, and accountability, completely flips the script here. Instead of these sterile, predictable lab tests, models are evaluated live, using real user feedback in dynamic tasks. This shifts everything from a controlled lab into the chaotic reality of live performance. Because the tasks are dynamic and constantly changing, the AI just can't memorize the answers. It actually gets ranked on how it helps people in real time.
Moving on to challenge 2, fake feedback and manipulating the scoreboard. Now this one is fascinating and honestly a little terrifying. Bad actors are actively trying to poison the scoreboard with fake data. It's no longer just the AI taking shortcuts. We're talking about outright deception from the humans behind the keyboards. Let's define what we're actually dealing with. It's called a Sybil attack. This happens when user feedback is falsified or manipulated by creating multiple duplicate identities just to undermine the fairness of the leaderboard. Imagine a rigged sports match where one team sneaks thousands of fake robotic fans into the stadium to scream for their team and maliciously influence the referee. If someone can spin up thousands of automated accounts to just endlessly upvote their own AI model, the leaderboard loses all meaning. The public gets tricked into using a subpar system just because the applause was artificially amplified.
The threat of this forgery and duplicate submissions via Sybil attacks is massive, especially when there are millions of dollars in investments tied to how a model is perceived publicly. But the technological fix? It's brilliant. Codatta uses smart contracts that apply decentralized weight allocation and reputation systems. Let me break that down. Decentralized weight allocation basically means that feedback from a real, verified, reputable user mathematically counts for way more than feedback from some brand new suspicious account. So Codatta is relying on immutable smart contracts to stop these fake crowds right in their tracks. By leveraging a blockchain-based reputation system, the network instantly identifies, flags, and devalues feedback from those sketchy, duplicate accounts. And the best part? You can't just fake a verified blockchain reputation overnight.
And that brings us to challenge number 3, hidden origins and crowding the podium.
Our third battle is against untraceable origins, and really the cynical reality of massive tech companies dominating the board through sheer volume. Because model origins are untraceable, large companies can just submit multiple models to dominate and completely crowd the leaderboard. It's basically a corporate arms race. They throw everything at the wall just to take up the top 10 spots. A megacorporation might submit the exact same foundational model, make 5 microscopic, totally insignificant tweaks, and release them under 5 different names, pretending they're distinct projects. It intentionally pushes the independent, innovative developers completely off the charts. It destroys user trust because you don't even know who built the model you're using. You think you're choosing between 5 fierce competitors, but nope, you're just looking at 5 clones from the exact same company.
So let's look at how Codatta builds an impenetrable wall of transparency to stop this flooding tactic. First, they publicly record model metadata directly on the blockchain. That means the basic DNA and origin of the model is permanent, time-stamped, and visible to everyone. No hiding. Second, they use hash verification to ensure output consistency. Think of a hash like a unique digital fingerprint. If a developer tries to be sneaky and swap out a highly ranked model for a cheaper version later, that digital fingerprint won't match, and the system catches it immediately. Third, they actively control multiple submissions through strict launch reviews to stop the spamming of clones. And finally, looking into the future, they plan to add institution-level aggregation. This is so smart. It means if a megacorp submits 20 tiny variations of the same model, the system mathematically groups them together as one single entity. They literally can't monopolize the top 10 spots anymore. With blockchain immutability, we finally get a single verifiable source of truth.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the wider leaderboard landscape and where we actually stand today.
To really grasp why this blockchain revolution is so necessary, we have to understand what Codatta is up against. Right now, there are a few massive players dominating the space. You've got LMA Arena, which is widely known as the most cited leaderboard out there. It's basically the gold standard for researchers. Then there's Xbench, which is designed to measure frontier capability. That means testing the absolute bleeding-edge limits of what massive AI can theoretically do. And then the Open Router LLM ranking, which looks at what developers are choosing based on raw inference volume, meaning how often the AI is actually being queried and used in the real world. But here is the crazy part. Whether you care about academic citations, frontier capability, or pure everyday usage, all of these existing platforms face the exact same 3 vulnerabilities we just tore down. Without immutable cryptographic verification, even the most prestigious leaderboards are sitting ducks for manipulation.
And that brings us to the core philosophy driving this whole thing: safeguarding fairness with the transparency and immutability of blockchain technology. By dragging these AI models out of those shadowy, tightly controlled lab environments and into the harsh, unalterable light of the blockchain, Codatta makes a really powerful point. We literally do not have to accept manipulated benchmarks as the status quo anymore. We have the technology to build a system where true merit actually wins. Merit that is determined by real users operating in dynamic, ungameable environments. It's a massive shift from blindly trusting a centralized black box to relying on decentralized mathematical truth.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you log on to use a quote-unquote top-ranked AI model for something important, pause for a second. Ask yourself, who really decided it was the best? Was it a rigged lab test? Was it a farm of fake automated accounts? Or was it actually verified by immutable, transparent, and dynamic user feedback? Understanding the mechanics behind the curtain is the very first step to demanding better tools. Thank you so much for jumping into this explainer with me, and hey, keep questioning the data.